Inclusive education is the plan. Building a future, making a stand. This education for all, we hear our song. In the school world, we
Class could talk. Oh my gosh, this is the 10th week of school and this child still don't have the textbook. These parents worthless, you know. And on top of that, every time he come to class, it's like he and the deodorant fall out. Smelling bad. I can just imagine. I just came from 3G and it's like a bunch of members in the class. I felt like I was talking to a blank wall. 30 minutes of nothing but silence. Miss, you're right. Oh, miss, what is that you doing on a laptop there?
Gosh, watch now. I don't even want to talk about this, right? There's a new student in my English class with dyslexia and autism. So I'm trying to structure my lesson plan to accommodate her.
I don't know now. These parents are worthless. You telling me you know your child have that and you still sending them here to cut weekend? We don't have enough stress to deal with in the school already. Right? And there's this one student in my class that he can't even talk. The boy just stares into space like if the elevator not going to the top. Like if his mind just took a vacation. I don't know what to do again.
I think I've seen that student around. I passed the class that time and saw Mr. D trying to get him to speak. And you know, this boy started crying. That's so weird.
Cry? Well, that's more than ever in my class because he just sits there and he doesn't say anything, he doesn't do anything, he doesn't even come in from the board. So just be grateful, Miss, at least he crying in your class. I don't blame you at all. Only remember the good old days of corporal punishment.
Yep, simple times. All this negotiating and therapy and unnecessary things. But just a few strokes, the rule of the bells, and all the hype ending an instant. Them students today don't know how easy they have it.
That's right. And look at us now. We paying the cake things. Yes, educated and good citizens. No zessing and six outside and all of that nonsense they're pushing out. And you know what? They actually had manners then too. Not like now.
As well as respect to authority.
And now we have to deal too now with all these slow students. Good? There should be issues holding in good choice. Not just stressing us out. I'm not a special ed teacher. What are we supposed to do with them? I see the principal send a video link about some school in San Fernando and that make news report and he say we should watch it. All you know what that is about?
You know how work to do. Oh, Miss F too busy for him to harass.
And you know what? That is Miss Liquor for sure. That show is for sure better than everybody else. But if it's about the fudge, it's about the smell. Good evening all and welcome to the Later Club News. I am Maura Bora and in tonight's report we ask the question, is inclusivity the best factor Trinidad and Tobago needs to improve its education sector? We interviewed the Ideal Inclusive High School located in San Fernando where we highlighted how they were able to promote the policies and practices that benefit their students and their stakeholders to improve inclusivity. More on this report. Founded in 2003, the Ideal Inclusive High School started off in not so ideal circumstances. The neighboring school, St. Prestigious College, was filled to its capacity, so a decision was made by the school's board to open another to accommodate some of the students. It was then discovered that 35% of the students being allocated to this new school came from poverty and 25% of the students had learning difficulties in the classroom, such as dyslexia and autism.
Welcome to Ideal Inclusive High School. So I was a social studies teacher at St. Prestigious for 6 years, until Ideal opened up. They came to me and they asked me if I would like to be head of department for modern studies at Ideal, and I agreed to it. One of the senior teachers was the vice principal, and another senior teacher was the principal. At the time, I was pursuing my master's in education, so I couldn't apply for the role. So I was just observing the school's progress over the years. However, the foundation was not really stable.
Why do you say that?
There was stigmatization taking place. Even though 90% of the staff and students came directly from St. Prestigious, we were always called the bootleg prestigious, the copycat school. A lot of those derogatory things. A lot of students who got their LCA results when they passed through the school, they felt like they didn't work hard enough to get into St. Prestigious, so therefore they came with a lackadaisical understanding. Whether they were home, whether they were in public, that sliver of pride to attend our school Ideal was very much diminished because they were always comparing Ideal to St. Prestigious, right? Students would either take off their ties when they leave the compound, change their clothes because they don't want to be associated with our school because they would be subjected to bullying. In our school, we have reshaped the Big D.
The Big D? What does that mean?
The Big D. discourse. It refers to the institutional tone that our school needs. And it's very important because it can influence a person's attitude towards inclusion and diversity. It helps promote tolerance and equity for all of our students. So, what sort of solutions do we have for our students socially? We would like to promote the rights and inclusion of all students, especially those who belong to marginalized groups and communities. After all, we want to adhere to our vision statements. We are a world-class inclusive school where diversity is celebrated, barriers are broken, and every child belongs, grows, and excels. Our mission statement: to empower every single child to rise, thrive, and shine, no matter where they start, how they live, or what they do. We have removed all exclusionary language. So, for example, we don't say normal living standards, but rather we replace it with. So, what is my philosophy? I would like that my students are able to gain knowledge, wisdom, be in good health both physically and mentally, make healthy and wise choices, be able to think critically, be problem solvers, as well as be well-rounded individuals. So it's not just about education, but it's about what else they can apply from their education. I also would love to support my teachers in any possible way I can, whether it is to provide a comfortable environment for holistic learning, whether it is to give them proper resources that they need, if it is I need to seek funding from the Ministry of Education, or any other stakeholders, whether it be school board, PTA. Once my teachers are comfortable, then my students will be comfortable. As well as to provide a well-rounded curriculum that promotes inclusivity. We did a whole change in terms of our school policies and guidelines so that they are available for all staff to see. And this will be addressing any sort of labeling and training for underdeveloped students, so they can also perform to their best ability. We will also be providing support to staff to ensure that the timetables is structured in a way they will have time to do anything else external, such as lesson planning and schemes, and they will be monitored and mentored by experienced peers. So what we're trying to do is we are planning and implementing teacher sensitization workshops and teacher training workshops so that they will know what it's like to deal with students in all different aspects of life. So that this is done during professional development days, also in staff meetings. So it's not to say that teachers are taking time off of their vacation, which they need, right? And that way they will not be resistant in not doing these classes. And it doesn't matter what background the students come from, whether you come from upper class or from very low poverty income families, every student has here, every student will benefit at ideal inclusive high school. We would like to develop a positive school climate by ensuring that there is awareness among staff about beneficial inclusivity is. It's not a privilege, it is a right. Now, of course, if we want to get any of these things done, we had to raise funds. So this is what we did so that we could be able to apply the technology needed to promote inclusivity in classrooms, right? What we're also doing is a sort of an apprenticeship program so that students, they can be able to experience what it's like to be out there in the world so that they will know what they're getting themselves into. In terms of the school lunch program, there has been stigmatization with that because people associate school lunch with being home. So we managed that better so that we could reduce the stigma, where at the same time students will not be mocked for taking these lunches. We've also started back this textbook rental that was discontinued by the government because at the end of the day, these students who do come from very low backgrounds, they don't have the funds to purchase these textbooks. So we implemented it back so that they can also benefit from our classes. And we also are making efforts from our stakeholders to reduce inequality and to promote not equality but equity, so that those who need the push will get the push, and those who already have a push will still be guided accordingly. And one way in which staff can understand is they themselves being neurodivergent. Approximately 25% of our staff at this moment also have neurodivergence, whether it be autism or ADHD. This sets a powerful example for students and the community that everyone has a valuable contribution, no matter if they are divergent or not. They can see that neurodivergence does have a place in our community.
As a cadet officer, some of the major challenges we have faced with inclusivity at our school have been the large number of students we have to develop individualized plans for. Also, we have a serious issue when it comes to the lack of parental involvement. But we have been able to develop creative strategies to meet the needs of all our learners. Some of these include having group breakout sessions with students at assigned periods during the school day whenever it is necessary. Also, we have sensitization programs for parents, sensitizing them to policies related to child labor and the regular attendance of their children to school. And we also encourage parents to invest in the education, health, and nutrition of their children because we want to ensure that we break this intergenerational cycle of poverty and vulnerability. So what do? We collaborate with our parents to provide them with strategies to assist their students. So it's a partnership. We work together with our parents for the well-being of our children. We also have had quite a bit of negotiation. Okay? We have done conferences between SSS and the Ministry of Education so that now we have at our school post-secondary classes for those students who are unsuccessful in the CX exams. So we have white-up classes and we have technical vocational education and training areas such as mechanical engineering, viticulture, we have hairdressing, we also have woodworking. So these are areas that our students can really invest their time and energy into. And of course, very importantly, as our principal might have mentioned, we also provide support and guidance to other staff members. Additionally, I should mention that language is very important. One area that we have honed to when it comes to our staff is the use of language that is very supportive and reassuring and empowering. It's very important to support students emotionally and socially. For example, during some of our sessions with students, we use affirming language when addressing them, especially those who may be navigating socioeconomic challenges. Let them know they belong here and that we will always find ways to support them. Also, there's a quote from James Key: do not invent our language, we inherit it from others. So therefore, I make it my duty that while we have our students at school, that we teach them a language that they can refer to themselves in, that is positive and uplifting. Also ensure that we teach all our members of staff to use language that is clear and inclusive, particularly when they are communicating with our neurodivergent students. What is my role as guidance counselor? It is to treat with the mental, social, financial, and emotional outcomes of all the students at this high school. For the years I've been here, I have also been able to access relevant social inclusive grants. We have community outreach programs, we have after school programs that have been put in place, we have community support mechanisms where we have scholarships, mentoring, provision of books, stationery, and personal products, all available to the students living in poverty. Also, to cater to our neurodivergent students, we also have parents have easy access to advanced diagnostic testing and programs for all our neurodivergent students. We also ensure that all teachers or members of staff at this plant, when they speak to our students, especially those with neurodivergent needs, that the language is clear and it's inclusive.
As a teacher in Ideal High, my role is very important. I have the pleasure of teaching all these different students, especially the ones that are autistic, who suffer from ADHD, and who are children of poverty, especially in the catchment area that we live in and we teach in. We find that a lot of the children who come out of this area need the extra help. So inclusive language in my classroom is to avoid stigmatization and marginalization. It's to promote and to show that language and literacy goes hand in hand. I believe in the theorist James Gay, who said people often believe that language is a tool primarily for saying things or giving information. But in reality, language is a tool for three things: saying, doing, and being.
So what is your personal philosophy as a teacher?
So my philosophy is very important. I believe that all children, as we say the big D debate discourse, should have a quality education. Of course, changing the discourse is a work in progress. However, the majority of our school population, including parents, now view autism as a different way of thinking rather than a deficiency. Teachers here use intentional speech to foster collaboration and to ensure that every student feels valued.
So as an English teacher, tell me, how do you ensure that the neurodivergent students understand the concepts that you are teaching?
I use a lot of scaffolding in my teaching. For instance, if you can see, my autistic students, they have a hard time to understand and comprehend. So I use my students to help them, but I also break it down, scaffolding, build up one after the next. So I explain it to them. I have to put pictures for them to understand. And they, in turn, understand with their friends. So their friends can help them through. If I'm teaching metaphors, I break it down for them. Mr. Brown is a lion. When he speaks, I have to show pictures. I use things like visuals, I use kinesthetic, I use oral.
So what are some of the solutions that you bring to this classroom?
So I have help from my principal, and I have help from the guidance counselor. And they bring in the important parts that I need. And I know that you have heard this before. But I have solutions myself. I do ongoing projects so that my students, especially from poverty areas, don't have to carry home the homework. They do everything in the classroom setting and there's no pressure. Students who are autistic can get feedback and they are comfortable without being stressed, go through anxiety in a loving environment. There's this philosopher, Ashley Taylor, 2017, that explains that a critical aspect of our pre-service teacher education is developing a sense of normalization whereby we as teachers work actively to shift our thinking, to see disability not as an abnormal thing, but as part of the normal spectrum of human experiences. How I teach my lessons depends on their culture, their background, their religion. I bring all the aspects into it so they can learn from each other. It's about taking the lesson plan and shifting it, marrying it with the philosophies, and then giving it to them to discover on their own. They make decisions, they become the learners for each other, and they are the ones that end up giving feedback to each other. I take it from the perspective of the philosophy of a teacher. I use the progressive social reconstruction and extensionism to teach my classroom. I use them because it's learning with your peers. So I put them in groups and they learn from each other, especially students who are autistic. They need to feel comfortable. They need to feel safe in a group. So I usually put them in groups so that they can always have somebody to depend on. I also give them the opportunity to break the chains of the rigid, traditional school rules and regulations and let them come up with their own rules and regulations being guided by me, of course. Teachers at this school no longer use the word disability, but we rather say diversity.
Wow, that seems like a perfect school. Imagine an environment where everybody feeling welcomed. I wonder if we could achieve something like that in this school. It will take a lot of work and a lot of money. But you know, when I started to teach, that is the kind of environment I envisioned myself being in.
I look for these teachers at that school, working with them, I look at the progress they made. You know, if we really try that here, we could probably make it good too. Because, I mean, the students can handle situations, they can have it if they live in poverty, or if they live with dyslexia or autism. It's really how we treat them that will make a difference. And you know what, I think these teachers at this school really are role models I want to follow. I want to emulate. So we can make a difference in our lives.
Inclusive education. Oh my goodness. I mean, every child, every ability, our community. Wow. That's a way to think about it. You know, it's about mindset. I feel inclusive education is really important at school. You know, like the motto says, every child, every ability, one community. Wow. It's all about our mindset, you know, how you think about things. Point of view. You know what I have to do? I think I'll have to work with the principal and start with me if I need to make a change. Let's get straight to it. I in the classroom to listen and play. Every child is welcome one day. Different voices, backgrounds, and dreams together we shine, or so it seems.
Inclusive education is the plan. Building a future, making a stand. This education for all, hear our song. In the school world, we all belong.
Poverty and neurodivergent. Lessons for strengthen and include breaking down barriers, bridging the sky. Philosophy, language, sociology, all expense.
Inclusive education is the plan. Building a future, making a stand. This education for all, hear our song. In the school world, we all belong.
With open hearts we pave the way for our students to be included. Let us start today. Let's lift each other, break down the walls in our school community. Everyone is called. Empathy and kindness, let them flow. In this shared journey we must all grow. Building our future, making a stand. Inclusive education is the plan.